I'm Dave Palumbo, founder of Species Nutrition. I created Species Nutrition with one mission in mind: to provide bodybuilders and serious athletes with no-nonsense supplements that work and are backed by science. From my earliest bodybuilding days, I believed in only putting the best in my body. And that lives on in the Species Nutrition line of products. We use only top-of-the-line formulations dosed for maximum results and the best flavoring systems available. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution. Dave Palumbo with an RX Muscle rant. Today's topic is going to be the desecration of the Arnold statue in Columbus, Ohio. This is a fixture in Columbus that's been there for quite a number of years now, ever since Dr. Bob Goldman donated the statue to the, I guess you could say, the city of Columbus, Ohio. It's right outside the convention center there, where when we go to the Arnold Classic every year, we see it. It's an iconic symbol in the sense that everyone likes to take pictures in front of it. And, you know, Arnold has become synonymous with Columbus, Ohio because of his relationship and all the business he brings in there every single year. I mean, millions and millions of dollars to all the different, businesses and hotels that are in Columbus and in that area. And it also harkens back to his long-term relationship with Jim Lorimer, now his son Bob Lorimer, and all they do for the community there. So when I see these pictures come out, and they were sent to me, showing the desecration of this statue, the spray painting of the hands, the fists in red, and the writing that was put on the floor there, spray painted on the floor, which is Black Lives Matter and blood on your hands, justice. I see the word justice, and I start to scratch my head a little bit, and I wonder why this statement was made on the Arnold statue itself and on the base of where the statue is on the floor there. I understand the movement. I completely support equality and racial equality out there, and I support people's right to protest peacefully, of course. I don't condone violence. What's been going on these last couple weeks is kind of disgraceful, not for any particular race, but for us as a human culture, in a sense that we can't demonstrate peacefully. But putting that aside, I have to wonder why the message was put on Arnold Schwarzenegger. You know, here Arnold is an immigrant himself coming over to this country. He couldn't even speak English. He was, I'm sure, absolutely taken advantage of many times over. A lot of people dismissed him as not being serious because he didn't speak English well. And here's a guy who champions bodybuilding, who supported the sport, the community. Bodybuilding is probably has more African Americans in the sport than any other sport out there, and they're at the elite level. And Arnold has always been friends, and I mean, bodybuilding, and I've said this before, is probably and I'm white, so I don't know, but I've talked to and interviewed a lot of black bodybuilders, and everyone agrees that bodybuilding is really not a prejudiced sport. You know, the best guy wins, and if the best guy is black, he wins, and if the best guy is white, he wins. And there's plenty of other controversies in our sport, but that's not something that was ever there. And I think Arnold epitomizes equality and equal opportunity for all athletes, because athleticism supersedes, it goes beyond political, agendas. It's a pure thing. That's why the Olympics are so awesome, because you can get all these countries that might be warring with each other coming together in one area and competing against each other. And that's what the Arnold Sports Festival is. It's actually bigger than the Olympics. And you get all these people from all these countries and different religions and races coming together to compete, okay, in a peaceful way, but emerging, as friends. And I can't tell you how many friends that I've made at the Arnold Classic since I started going in 1994, and I'm sure a lot of people can reiterate my story in their own, lives. And I know that Arnold has made innumerable friends and contacts there it's really a shame. I know that probably Columbus, Ohio, and wherever the demonstrators wanted to demonstrate in that particular city, they figured, well, what's the most iconic place to do it? Well, the Arnold statue, and I think that's why they did it there, probably to try to draw attention. But Arnold is not the icon that you want to vandalize. He's the guy who's helping the situation. He's the guy who's championing equal rights. Why would you put blood on his hands? He doesn't have blood on his hands. He's the guy that's trying to free everyone. And so to me, this whole desecration of the statue there, the writing on the floor, I am completely not in support of it. I think it's a poor choice to make a message. I think that it was done because that's, like I said, the most iconic statue there. I guess if the Rocky statue was there, like it is in Philadelphia, maybe they would have done it to Rocky's boxing gloves. But I don't know. I don't know what goes through people's heads. I don't know if they even think out their agendas. I think they just act. And unfortunately, this is a very, very tense time, racial tensions, because of what happened with George Floyd and the white police officer killing him unnecessarily. And I don't think anyone in their right mind supports that. But we certainly don't support, the destruction and the violent opposition to something like this. That's not how you get policy change. That's how you create more martial law, and that's how you create less rights for us, not more. So I'm sure Arnold is very disappointed. I'm sure the Lorimer's are disappointed. I'm sure Bob Golden is disappointed. Now Bob's got to hire a team, an anti-graffiti team to clean up the statue. Because I know it's got to be driving Bob crazy. But once again, guys, think before you act. Arnold Schwarzenegger is not the enemy here. He's part of the solution to the problem. Sports brings us together. You don't demonstrate and desecrate the one thing that actually is a bastion of racial equality out there. And that's what's mything me so much. And I think that's why it's so disturbing of an image to a lot of people, especially bodybuilders, who see this, because they know that that's just not the right place to make that statement. All right, guys. Once again, if you can relate to what I'm saying here, make your voice be heard. Because you know what? I think that people have to understand that you can't just go around destroying culture. Why don't you just burn down all the museums too while you're at it? I mean, just absolute stupidity out there with the way some people decide to demonstrate. I understand that there's a lot of pain out there and there's a lot of people who are mad and outraged, but it has to be focused. I mean, Martin Luther King, I think, was the epitome of peaceful demonstrations lead to change. All right, guys, think about this. Hopefully, we won't see any more of desecration and disgusting, demonstrations like this, because it just doesn't. It leaves a bad taste, at least in my mouth, and I know a lot of other people's mouths, for humanity in general. But I know that we're better than that. We can rise above that. I'm Dave Palumbo for an RX Muscle Rant.